Good morning and welcome to the Native News Today. Jason Salzman along with Gerald Wofford. We thank you for joining us this morning. And Jason, as we always do, we feel like we've got a very entertaining, very enlightening, very educational program for our watchers today.
That's right. It's our MO. It has been for, since our existence. And got a great program. Got a lot of good stories to tell you today and a lot of great things happening in Indian country. Just like every Saturday, we like to tell those stories.
We've got a bit of an international flavor today. We're going to be visiting the Cherokee Art Market, where some of the artists are from Canada there, specifically a Cree artist, and she'll be showing some of her artwork there, a very renowned artist. Won't give away the name, let her introduce herself and everything to it. Plus, a couple weeks ago at the Creek Complex, we had some visitors from Europe.
Yeah, some Germans from the Bavarian region over there, and came down for Oktoberfest. Of course, it was very popular in Tulsa, and it was a few bands from Germany, and just their whole troupe came with them, and really had a nice time here at the complex.
So we have an exclusive on the Native News Today. You may have seen your tribal chief stomp dance or powwow dance, depending on his tribal affiliation, but you've never seen a tribal chief polka dance, and we're going to have that on the Native News Today this morning. Plus, as you all know, November 7th, which is this Tuesday, is Election Day, and we want the Native vote to be strong. And Jason interviewed some of the political candidates earlier in the month of October, and we want to replay those interviews for them.
Yeah, very special time right now. The election is really picking up steam, and Tuesday it'll be time to go out to the polls, and a lot of people kind of undermine their right, their privilege to vote, and we want to get that stressed and get that out there. That's an important thing, especially for Native American people, to let their voice be heard.
So all that, plus the tribal calendar update, all the things happening in Indian country. We'll be right back here. You're watching the Native News Today.
Hey, I know we're supposed to be on a break right now, and that's usually what we're doing, kicking back, waiting for the next segment. But we needed to take a little bit of time out of our busy schedule to remind you about an important date coming up.
That's right. We've got our 9th annual Red Fork Native American Film Festival. It's going to be happening November 15th through the 19th at the Tulsa Community College West Campus. It's free, open to the public. We're even going to have dinner Saturday evening, and a lot of great Native American films, directors, actors all over the country. Their films are going to be shown right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So please come on out. We'll be giving more information as the dates and the days get closer. So again, we invite you to come out to the Red Fork Native American Film Festival.
We'll see you there.
Smali, tasaako tsusinili angina istun sanga.
Pangana riibe hayat kaus.
Nagi, kada magas.
Pangana hayat kidoang noge.
Fanny molo jo subananga.
Tu morsati.
Hitla hani subani doang.
Wat, hiji mokhetsari chin hisakta dastumidanga.
Mahisi mokka se di wekki diga, hisagida dan hiliga, ampane hayat kidoang.
Hilimani, matse.
The Muskogee Creek Nation Tobacco Prevention Program offers all cessation classes to young and old. For more information about a healthier life and a second wind, contact one of these centers nearest you.
Hijida, Hilishwo fatsa. CNA de dos, moes.
Well, hisi mokkeskera mokkes aknoar stinokkesis, still easy dois.
The Cherokee Art Market was held recently at the Cherokee Casino near Catoosa, Oklahoma. Jason, this is their first year having the art market, and they're hoping to make it a worldwide event drawing artists from all over the continent.
Yeah, and there's certainly potential for that. You think about the history of Native American in the art field, and there's so many that you can name. We've featured some on this show. It just seems about every week we have an artist on, and that's because there's so many great ones out there and so many wonderful stories to tell. It's not just their work that you look at and are astonished by, but it's maybe the background stories or where they came from or what's inspired that work. So we love to tell those things.
And we kind of ventured away from the local artists this time, if you will, to give you a broader aspect of the talented Native artists that are out there. We talked with an artist from Canada. She's from the Cree tribe, not the Creek tribe, but the Cree, C-R-E-E tribe, and talked about her artwork, and she's won some awards, and also a little footage from the Cherokee Art Market in itself. So we'll bring you that story right now.
Hello, my name is Audrey Nanamahu. I'm Cree from Wabasca, Alberta. I currently live in Revelstoke, BC. And I have here my beautiful soapstone carvings. And the way I do my art is I see the image in the stone. I pick up a piece of stone and I can see the image in there, and it could be anything from a bear to a chief or cougar, anything. And I never know in advance what it's going to be. And I've been carving now for 4 years. I won Best of Show at the Calgary Stampede this past year. I've been doing this now for 4 years.
Now, you're not exactly across the county here. You travel a little ways, Canada. How did you hear about this and come all the way down here to present your work here?
Well, I've actually seen the advertisement in a local newspaper, and I phoned up and I asked if they had any more spots left. So we decided to pack up our travel trailer and hit the highway and come all this way from Revelstoke, BC.
Do you come to the States very often?
We've came to a couple of shows. We went to Spokane, Great Falls, Vancouver, Washington. Now this will be our 4th show.
Now, I have to ask you this from an artist standpoint. Canadian Indian art, American Indian art. What styles and what's the difference? What makes them? What's the distinct styles between the two?
Well, definitely, I would say their different style is because of different tribal. That right there is a big difference.
Well, you really have some impressive work here.
Thank you.
All right, with Election Day coming up just this Tuesday, it's very important that we continue to get out the importance of voting and what that means for Native American people. And it's become so much more in this election here, with so many of the candidates looking at Native Americans and realizing that they have a strong voice in this state. And with that being said, we were able to catch up with Howard Barnett and Scott Meacham. Scott Meacham is the current state treasurer. Howard Barnett is challenging him for that spot this Tuesday, and we were able to talk with them last week, but we want to play that again just to keep your minds fresh on it. All right, we're here at the Crown Plaza Hotel with State Treasurer Scott Meacham here, visiting with Native News Today. And first of all, Treasurer Meacham, just want to thank you for giving us this opportunity, giving us some of your time.
Well, I'm glad to do it.
Hot on the campaign trail here and hoping for another re-election. Treasurer, you have a very, very unique post with dealing with the state's Indian tribes and being the chief negotiator between basically, let's face it, two different nations. Well, not two different nations, but a nation. A sovereign entity and 39 sovereign entities.
Well, we like to talk government to government.
Exactly right, and that has to be a more unique than most state treasurers, I would think, would have the ability to do that. And how do you feel about that opportunity?
Well, I really enjoy it. It's very interesting. It's very rewarding, and it's very challenging. And the reason I do it is obviously it's the governor's function to be over compact negotiations, and I'm his Secretary of Finance and Revenue. And he asked me when I first came to work for him as a state finance director to do it, and then when I became state treasurer, he asked me to keep that role.
Specifically talking about negotiations and things like that, a lot of negotiations have been in the media here in the last few months, and things have been, said and things are out there. But what I really believe is that we're dealing with a new thing here. The tribes are becoming more and more present in this state and more of a force. So obviously, anytime that things are new and different, it takes a little getting used to. Is that the way you see it also?
Yeah, I think it is true that the tribes are obviously growing and becoming more of an economic power in the state. But really, honestly, in the kind of behind the scenes in the negotiations and our relationships with the tribal leaders and their attorneys, those things go pretty well. What it ends up being usually is people that are really not in those rooms that kind of amp the rhetoric up, and but our relations and actually friendships with the tribal leaders are great, and they've always been great.
I'm a huge football fan, so I guess you could liken it to behind the locker room doors and then sports talk radio. It's everybody outside of the family there that gets the crazy stuff going on. But I know that you look forward to another the election coming up, and look forward to a chance to be the state's treasurer once again. Is this something that you see? And when I mean that, I mean tribal prosperity and state and government working together. Is that something you see that can be prosperous if you're in that state again?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think we all owe it to all of our citizens to work together, because there really is a symbiotic relationship. What is good for one is good for the other. And I have worked really hard to try to develop opportunities for the state and the tribes to work together. We just did the MG deal down in Ardmore, where the Chickasaw Nation came to the table with some land. I put together an incentive package for the state, and then the local government came together, and guess what? We got a huge internationally known manufacturer right here in Oklahoma. Well, we're working on a similar project right now with the Cherokee Nation. So I think there's a lot of those types of opportunities out there, and we just have to be willing to sit down and work on them together.
All right. Be looking forward to a lot of more prosperous things out of you, and good luck on the campaign trail, and I'm sure we'll be hearing about you in the coming months.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
All right, State Treasurer Scott Beecham. In your capacity as State Treasurer, philosophically, theoretically speaking, if you do win that office, what are some of the issues that you see need to be addressed? I mean, right now, I know you spoke about some of the challenges that will be and the debt that we've got here in the state of Oklahoma. But what are some of the things that you would need to address?
I think the treasurer is basically the chief elected fiscal officer of the state of Oklahoma. In addition to just managing the office well, which I think I have the qualifications to do, I think the treasurer needs to speak out on issues that affect the financial health of the state of Oklahoma. And the main one I talk about a lot on the campaign trails are state pension funds. They're over $10 billion, that's billion with a B, underfunded. And if we were a company, the federal government would have sued us long ago to clean this up. And any way you cut it, that's a $10 billion debt that we're leaving for our children and grandchildren to pay if we don't do something about it now. And no one's talking about it. Very few people even know about it. When I give speeches around the state and I mention the $10 billion number, jaws just drop. Our current treasurer claims that he's been trying to do something about it. Well, the key word there is trying. He hasn't done anything about it, and that's not what I'm going to do. I will get that problem solved and get us back on the road to solvency.
Less than 3 weeks away now, so we're at crunch time, really. And I know things are getting hectic, but you've been out in western Oklahoma, been all over the state. And I just have to ask you, you go out in western Oklahoma, and some of the tribes out there are doing a great job with commerce things like things with economic interest and putting out a lot of, and I'm not talking just about gaming, there's a lot of things going on out there too. Is that something that as a treasurer, you'll be able to say, hey, things in Oklahoma, could, if we work together the right way, they could, kind of turn the corner. And we're seeing success now, but don't you think that can continue with the partnership continuing like that?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's really, we've been missing a bet in Oklahoma because, the tribes have access to some federal money, for example, that the state doesn't. And it's often very comparable money, whether it's in health care or area or economic development, that if we really work together, we probably could get 1 and 1 equals 3. Now, again, I'm not going to pander. The treasurer's not in charge of economic development, but I think that economic development has to be sort of part of every elected official's portfolio. And I've got a lot of experience there and would love to work with the tribes or anyone else to try and get more jobs, more money, more wealth into Oklahoma.
We talk about the partnership, but at the end of the day, what's good for the tribes is good for the state, and what's good for the state is good for the tribes, because we're Indians, but we are Oklahomans too, Oklahoma citizens, and just a partnership that should be able to work. And I know that you'll pay special attention to that. And November 7th, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you can pull it out and bring the treasurer's race here to Tulsa.
I appreciate that very much, and just remember to vote. The key thing is to get out to vote.
All right. Howard Barnett, if you want a full-time treasurer, this must be the guy.
And our thanks to Mr. Meacham and Mr. Barnett for those interviews. And again, we're just strongly encouraging this Tuesday, November 7th, Election Day. Get out, make your voice heard, put your X, check, whatever on that ballot box. Let the native vote be strong. And one gentleman that really believes in the native vote is George Tiger.
Yeah, the Speaker of the National Council, Mr. Tiger, and the National Council of the Muskogee Creek Nation has really put their foot forward with this Native Vote United campaign. It's one that's been embraced by several politicians in the state, as well as several tribes. And I was able to sit down with George, and we talked a little bit about the importance of the campaign, and plus the importance that the Native American people have in elections, not only this year, but in the coming ones too.
Jason, I think you only have to go back 4 years ago to see the importance of the native vote, especially in the governor's race here in the state of Oklahoma, when you had Governor Henry, that was the underdog going into the elections, and you had Steve Largent, who was the front runner from the Republican Party. And to have Governor Henry reach out to the native vote and for the native communities, Indian communities throughout the state of Oklahoma, to rally around him, Governor Henry certainly understood the native vote. And because of that, I think in this year especially, through the tribal summits that have been held throughout the state of Oklahoma and the Native Vote United initiative that, by the way, was started by the Muskogee Creek Nation through the National Council, that has given a momentum to register new voters, to encourage the Indian communities to go out and vote. You're seeing such impact of people, Indian people, that are actually making the effort to get their families registered, making the effort to make sure that they go to the polls, and that's indicative, I would think, of where tribes and tribal governments in the state of Oklahoma are making an impact, not only politically but economically as well, and candidates are seeing that.
Now, you speak of Native Vote United, and it's certainly a groundbreaking initiative, one that's really caught fire with all the tribes really in the state. No, there's not anybody out there really involved with Native American politics that doesn't know about it. Talk a little bit about the birth of that concept and kind of how it came about, because you got to be excited because you were right there in the middle of the start of this, and it's something that's only going to grow with time, I think.
I think it's probably something that is real important for tribal leaders to notice, is to get their people to get into the electoral process. At the National Council of Muskogee Creek Nation, we saw the importance of it. Passed legislation to identify the importance of it. And then other tribes saw the initiatives that were started at Creek Nation. And from that, Jason, we also saw Indian people that took an interest in wanting to run for various offices. And it just kind of had a domino effect. Getting Indian people to vote, to getting Indian people to actually run for various positions within the state of Oklahoma structure. Then you had other tribes getting behind this effort. It is an exciting time. And all of it stems from, I think, the state of Oklahoma finally realizes the importance of Indian people in terms of being one of the top employers in the state collectively, and then having the ability to contribute politically to the various candidates. A good example would be back in July when the Muskogee Creek Nation hosted a tribal summit. Who would have thought 4 years ago 30 to 32 candidates for statewide offices would show up at a tribal function like that, and for them to aggressively seek the native vote? That says a lot about what Indian people are doing politically and economically here in the state of Oklahoma.
All right, now we want to take a quick break, but before we do, we want to give you this tribal calendar update, all the things happening in Indian country and beyond on the Native News Today. Today's world is far different than the one our ancestors knew. But though times have changed, we the Muskogee Creek people remain a strong people. Many of our traditions continue to thrive in today's modern world. For 1,000 years and more we have been here, and we will be here for 1,000 more. Times have changed, but so have we, and the Muskogee Creek people are a part of this time, this country, and this economy.
Here at the College of the Muskogee Nation, we pride ourselves on emphasizing Native culture, values, language, and self-determination while providing a positive learning environment for tribal and non-tribal students. We encourage our students to be lifelong learners and to strive for personal growth, professional advancement, and intellectual advancement. Muskogee Nation College. Academic achievement, Native values.
Jason, here we are in the month of November, but we can't say farewell to October just yet because we did a story concerning Oktoberfest in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it directly affected the Creek Nation.
Yeah, how often, Gerald, is it that you can walk through the halls of a tribal complex and see the chief of a nation doing a polka?
Well, it happened here.
It happened right here. Chief Ellis certainly embraced the group from Germany that came in and wanted to tour the Creek Nation complex, and we were there the whole every step of the way to document that journey.
And two special people that led out the party from Germany, as well as some visitors from Austria, was Jim and Hannah Giles. Of course, Jim, you know, from the weatherman on Channel 6.
We've got some moisture coming up here.
Coming from
this
Lake
jet
Eufaula.
stream coming from this way, yeah.
Yeah, so they were here, and it was just a great time for everyone, as this news segment shows here. All right, Gerald Walford with Native News Today, and I'm standing here with a very special gentleman. You know him from the local weather forecast on the News on 6. I'm talking about Mr. Jim Giles. You know, Mr. Giles, Native American culture is certainly proud of its heritage, but you all are very proud of your heritage, too. Tell us about yours, please.
Yes. Well, I have some Indian background in my background, but my wife is German, and of course we try to keep the German culture alive in our family. So on all occasions, we throw in a little bit of German in whatever we're doing at Christmas time and Thanksgiving, our decorations, etc. So just like you, we try to keep some of the German culture alive and keep it going.
Now, I want you to do a little bragging on your wife, because she's hosted this party today. She's been the interpreter. Tell us a little bit about her, please.
Yes, she's a very special lady, and this was basically when she heard that these gentlemen from Germany wanted this tour. She's the one that set it up with Paul Brown. So I thank Paul Brown and all of his efforts likewise to put this together. But she loves doing this sort of thing and interpreting so that she can hear one side and try to get it over to the other side so they can understand it. So this is something that she really enjoys doing, and it's so meaningful for all of us.
Our three bands that's here today are all from, as you said, the Bavarian state of Germany and the country of Austria. Most people do think we're all the same thing, but just like you all, we do have all our different areas. And they all came here for Oktoberfest in Tulsa. And Jim and I have been affiliated with that since we first came to Oklahoma in 1981.
You know, it's always nice to experience different cultures, and here they are visiting here. I'm sure this is really a special time for them to come and to embrace another culture.
Oh, they love it. You know, the Indian culture and cowboy culture in Germany is as big as the culture of the Europeans when it comes to the royalties.
And how did you come to make your home in Oklahoma?
Well, when my parents and I immigrated, I met my husband in Kansas City, Missouri, and we had many, many different career changes, opportunities, and always were transferred a great deal. And as it turned out, Jim had gotten his master's degree at the University of Oklahoma in severe weather, and I always was his sidekick and did all of his paperwork at home, and the severe weather brought us to Oklahoma.
Ms. Giles, it's always a treat for us here on the program when we have someone who is fluent in another language to say some greeting in that. So we'd really be treated and honored if you would say a greeting to our audience out there for our Native News Today program, please.
Gladly. Vielen herzlichen Dank, dass Sie uns hier heute herkommen lassen. Und wir sind wirklich so froh, dass Sie so wunderbar dabei gewesen sind, ein bisschen von ihrer Kultur mit unserer Kultur zu verbringen. Und wir hoffen, dass Sie uns im Oktoberfest in Tulsa diese Woche besuchen werden. Vielen, vielen Dank. Thank you so very much.
Dankeschön.
Gern geschehen.
And you've seen an exclusive right here on the Native News Today. Germans and Austrians visiting the Muskogee Creek Nation. And the chief cutting the rug there, Jason.
Yeah, he was getting after it a little bit. I'm going to throw some salt on the floor.
But as you noticed, too, there was another gentleman there kind of doing a little bit of the shimmy polka, or the electric slide polka, if you will. That was none other than our executive director, Claude Sumner.
Good old Claude V. Sumner. And doing a little dance there, showing his talents. He told me afterwards that he was wanting to go with another dance, and she was wanting to do the German waltz, I believe is what he said. So.
That's right. The Al Wiedersee was there, and they were about to roll out the barrels on Mr. Sumner, but I think they kind of
he threw him a curveball, as you'd say.
You could say that, yeah, but I think they hit a home run off.
They did. They did. We had to take him out. We had to signal for the.
No, he's a great guy. And if you're ever visiting the Creek Nation, you got to say hi to Mr. Sumner. He's one of the men that you'll remember here.
Just don't eat his chili.
Just yes, a word to the wise: do not eat the chili. That's why we always go looking for the perfect fry bread from time to time.
Because the perfect chili is the perfect disaster.
But hey, we're open to looking for the perfect chili out there if you all have it out there.
Send it in.
Because we always want to find the good stories that are
exactly
out there.
Right.
And we want you to contact us and let us know where those stories are.
There's several ways to contact us, and we're going to give you that information, so it's on you now. I always say that, but it really is. I mean, it's none of our fault if you don't get a hold of us. No. We can be reached by phone at 918-732-7637, or if you want to send us a facsimile, fancy for fax, 918-758-0824. Or, of course, you can always reach us at email. Yes, we know how to use those, check those, and we are currently in some typing classes.
Yes, we pay our secretary to check those.
We're currently in some typing classes. So Jay Salzman at MuskogeeNation-NSN.gov or G. Wofford at MuskogeeNation-NSN.gov. We've circled the bases. I believe we've stepped on the corners of each one, so take us right home.
Hey, a lot of things happening this November. Again, check out our film festival. Come on out for that. For our producer, Josh Lane, Jay Salzman, Gerald Wofford, we appreciate you joining us. In the meantime, take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.